And there it goes. It says waiting for CD929, but apparently it shouldn't be waiting. It should be on. There it is. Okay. So I'm not sure what's happening here. But that's what's happening. Okay. Well, that was bizarro to say the very least. All right. So I'm just trying to wait on an email that I sent myself. Let's see. I need to do this. There we go. Okay. Hi. How's everybody doing? Well, there were two people. Now there's one. Okay. Well, I just got back from Cleveland, and I went to some restaurant that was Buffalo something. Not Buffalo Bill's, because that's from Silence of the Lambs, but I don't remember the name, and I was trying to Google it, and I couldn't find it. Now, it's funny, because yesterday was Wagyu Day, Smoothie Day, Summersgiving Day, Arizona Day, Day of the Gong, Selfie Day. Well, that's today. All of those things, by the way. Go Skateboarding Day, Daylight Appreciation Day, Peaches and Cream Day, and World Martini Day. And tomorrow is National Kissing Day, National HVAC Tech Day, National Onion Rings Day, and National Chocolate Eclair Day. Now, I jumped ahead, not realizing that tomorrow was Onion Ring Day, because I had onion rings today at this barbecue place in Cleveland, which was really good. And I also had a chocolate eclair this morning. That was breakfast, because that's what I had for breakfast. So not even knowing it, I jumped ahead and had those things for the National Day today for tomorrow, if that makes sense. So there you go. Now, I wasn't here last night. I was in Cleveland. So I had a really cool like planetary mobile around me, and we were talking about Pluto. Is Pluto a planet? And it's not a planet, apparently. It's still not a planet. Pluto has been downgraded to not a planet. So we don't have to worry about Pluto and its planet. And it was Rick and Morty that was the Pluto planet reference I was trying to use when Jerry, Morty's dad, said Pluto's a planet, and then some Plutonians heard him, picked him up, kidnapped him, brought him to Pluto. He made big announcements that Pluto was a planet because Rick and Morty, or Morty was doing a project for the planets, and his dad, of course, had to interrupt and do things when he could have just done something much easier because Dad wanted to be, connected. So I think I had my dad make a project like that for me once when I was a kid. Once. That was about it. And then it was just like, never again. All right, now what went on here? Why did that camera die? Okay, so that camera died early and prematurely. So I'm not sure if it was the timer or what. Like I said, 20 minutes and that camera dies. So I must have had it on earlier. I am going to switch it. At some point, I will switch cameras. I just have been not home enough to do it. So I'm still trying to get a video to download that I sent myself. Apparently it isn't going to do it, and that's not great. Because I was going to do something really fun because I figured out how to use picture-in-picture, and I was going to have it over my shoulder there, and you're going to get to preview it, and then I was going to be able to click it, and it goes, and you get to see it, because I did something really fun, and I edited. I actually edited. I know, don't get all excited like it's going to be a normal thing. I'm going to do it constantly because I don't know how to do it constantly. The big problem is that it's really timeful. It takes a lot of time for me to edit. So I'm looking to try and get AI to take over my editing responsibilities because I can't figure it out. So that's just the way it is. I can't figure out editing. I mean, I can, but then I overthink it. I don't know if you've ever tried to edit. I become Quentin Tarantino, and I want to go back and go, wait, I needed this shot, I need an establishing shot, and I need this, and I need this B-roll shot, and I need this, and I need this, and it just becomes overwhelming in what I want it to be. I become this this complete Alfred Hitchcock. Martin Scorsese. Just every video has to be my magna opus. It just has to be this amazing thing when it really doesn't need to be, because I overthink it way too much. So I need to unthink the videos to make them good, because they're still good, I think. I get interesting stuff. When I was going to Cleveland yesterday, there was a car fire. So it was like billowing black smoke, and then the fire truck went by, and the ambulance went by, the police car went by. We get up there, and the pickup truck was just missing. The whole thing was like melted. And I got some good GoPro video of it as I went by, because I rubbernecked like everybody else did, because everyone had to be like, ooh, ah, ooh, and slow down. But there was only one lane open of the 3 on 71, because the fire truck did park kind of with his hose in the middle of the road, and he didn't exactly give a crap because he was putting out a burning truck. So it wasn't like he was like, oh, let me just park safely so everyone can get by. He didn't do that. He didn't care. But that's all right. That's his job. That's what he does. So, all right, it's not going to do it. I tried to load this thing to no avail, to none, no avail whatsoever. So the Heinz episode number 5 is coming up next Thursday. So this Thursday we did have episode number 4 that was in Cleveland, which I was at, and 5 is next Thursday in Cleveland again. That would be the lunch Cleveland stop. Now, if I remember correctly, this is where I met a guy that I know from Columbus. So he's like, Randy. I was like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? He's like, I live here. I was like, I thought you lived in Columbus. No, I moved up here like 6 months ago or something, and blah, 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 blah. And he was working in the restaurant that we stopped at, which was hilarious that, of course, I run into someone I know in Cleveland at a restaurant, bar, randomly, because I run into people randomly everywhere. The funny thing is, and I said it last night, so I met a Tyler last night. And Tyler, very, very, I'm sorry, I have to ask, are you the driver? And that's what just like that. I'm like, I am. He goes, oh my God. He goes, I'm a huge fan of Stephen He. I've been watching him forever. And I was like, wait a second. I think that dude's the driver from the day tripping show. I was like, yes. He goes, oh my God, tell me all about Stephen. He goes, I just want to know everything there is about him. So I was like, well, he's really nice. And, he enjoyed doing this and blah, 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 blah. It was really kind of funny that, yes, are you the driver? I was like, yes, I am the driver. Forever known as the driver. Okay, I guess that's, I could be known for worse things. There was I don't know if you saw it, but if you did not, it's worth searching out and seeing it. There is a documentary on Paul Reubens. Paul Reubens is Pee Wee Herman. And it's a very interesting 2-part documentary. And they filmed it right before he died. And he's a lot deeper than you know. Very tortured individual. Everyone knows him for he got busted in an adult theater, and that kind of really hurt his career and such. But the thing is that he was just a tortured individual. He tried so hard to be famous, and when he got famous for Pee Wee Herman, not for Paul Reubens. So there's a Hollywood Walk of Fame star for Pee Wee Herman, but not for himself. So he did everything to be famous for himself, but never got famous. His persona did, which I found very interesting. And he hid his homosexuality his entire career because he didn't want people to know he was gay. He was very much just this, tortured artist. If you ever watch Pee Wee's Playhouse, it's really, it's a Saturday morning cartoon for kids, but it is so adult themed, it's not even funny. They just pushed and pushed and pushed. But at the time that it happened, it became a cult classic. He toured the country and he would sell out theaters everywhere just doing prop gags as Pee Wee. But so it was really, really interesting. I found it to be really, I don't know, it was a little sad in a way. It was a little sad. And just how his life was affected by how he was and who he was, and the perception that people had of him, as well as what he became and what he wanted to be were not the same. But it was very interesting. Why I bring that up is because today was Day of the Gong, and he was on the Gong Show a bunch of times. I don't know if you know what the Gong Show is. Gong Show is something that was this show where it was the precursor to American Idol, but it was just no talent. Anybody could do anything. They'd let him up on stage, and there was a little, 3-member panel that had giant gongs behind them, and people get up there, and they were just terrible. Or they were good, or they were mediocre, or they just were a joke, and they'd get gonged, just a giant. And Chuck Barris being the host. Chuck Barris it's rumored that he was an assassin for the CIA as well, because he was this famous guy that was able to travel because of his fame, and he was an assassin for the CIA. So I don't know. Don't off me if I just outed something. I'm just saying, according to me. But that's another one of those very interesting things about these connections to the world. But yes, it was Day of the Gong, National Day of the Gong. So I did not bang any gongs today. I did not have any Wagyu beef today. I did not have a smoothie today. Summer's Giving, I wasn't really sure what that was. I did not dive into it. I didn't care enough to do it. So that's kind of where that's at. It's National Arizona Day. I did not have any Arizona interactions today. Day of the Gong, no, we already talked about that. Selfie Day, I took a selfie so I could say I did that. So yes, I did take a selfie for Selfie Day. And if I could download it, I would show it to you and you'd be like, oh, it's a selfie. Simple. Go skateboarding day, don't have a skateboard, but I did touch a skateboard today. Oddly enough, there was one there and I spun the wheels and said, yeah, I'm not getting on that. I'm going to not break a bone. Daylight Appreciation Day. Okay, well, I appreciate the daylight. So does that mean I did it? National Daylight Appreciation Day. I appreciate that the sun is performing its job correctly and giving us radiation and light and all the things that it's supposed to do. And thank you, big burning mass of helium and hydrogen. Peaches and Cream Day, did not do that. And World Martini Day, did not have a martini. But tomorrow, as I said, tomorrow we have National Kissing Day. So I don't know, maybe get a kissing booth if you're, attractive enough to do a kissing booth, and not for your OnlyFans page, because we don't need to read about that somewhere. HVAC Tech Day. I'm not sure why HVAC techs need a national day. Maybe because it's summer and they're going to keep us cool, fix our stuff. That would be the only reason I could think that you'd want to have HVAC Tech Day. Onion Ring Day. I had onion rings already today, so I jumped the gun on that one, unknowing. I think like 4 orders came to this table. There was a lot of onion ring eating. And Chocolate Eclair Day. And I had a chocolate eclair for breakfast. He didn't even know. I didn't even look at that until late. So I did, again, jump the gun on that one. Remember this thing. Like and subscribe this one, because this is something that I will move to eventually when I start to get videos shot and I can actually post them. Because I have a lot of stuff. I have so much stuff on hard drives and discs and the little mediums or the little flash drives and just, oh my God, I have it everywhere. Just too many things. It's Nelsonville this weekend. Nelsonville Music Festival, if you're not aware of that, because you might be at it, so then you wouldn't be watching this because you'd be at Nelsonville. Eric Heiss, let's see. Ruben's got done dirty. Lucky he had finished filming Playhouse. Grew on it. Yes, he did. Right. It did. Watch that. It's a really interesting documentary. What else? Can you name the movie about Chuck Barris and his alleged association with the CIA? Oh. Can I name the movie? No, I can't off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. I remember it was... Let's say... Sam Rockwell was in it because he played Chuck Barris. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I think that was it. It was a good movie. So if you want to see about Chuck Barris and supposedly being a CIA agent, because it was already outed, there was a movie made, so it's not like I'm just bringing this to the table. There's plenty of crazy conspiracies out there about people hiring assassins anyway, so I'm just going to, again, throw my hands in the air, and I'm not going to do anything political ever because it is just way too crazy and way too volatile. I just don't want to do it. I'm just going to stay the hell away from all of the crazy, for better or worse. Don't care. I got an email from Waymo that says they're expanding their reach in California. Interesting. Los Angeles and other parts of Waymo is the autonomous vehicle that I drove when I went to San Francisco, the robot car. And I do a video of that, and I have to figure out how to transfer things quickly and easily so that I can just be like, play, because that would be fun. That would be what we need. Well, at least what I need. I don't really know if that's what you need. You may be like, no, we don't need that. None of us need that at all. That seems like that would be a waste of time for you and me. Now let me see. I want this to be sent. If I can send this to myself, this video right here, I want to send this video so I can go ahead and see it. And then I can post it and you guys can watch it and hopefully laugh at it, because this is something I had fun doing. Let's see, sent. It's okay. It says I sent it. So let's see if it actually arrived. So I'm sending it from one email account to another email account so I can download it, and it's not there unless it's in like a junk drawer. Is there a spam? Did it show up in spam? Maybe. Is that it? Why there's not spam? Attachment. Oh wait, could I do this? Previous problem, I can't. Oh, download it. Maybe, we'll see. That'd be fun if I could do it. Let's watch, come on. All right, now hold on. Maybe. Okay, wow, this is gonna work. All right, so, okay, stop. I don't need you to play yet. Okay, so, all right. I can expand it, and I can do this, and you should see something on my shoulder. Look at that, woo! How fun is that? So, that video, this is what you can do when you sneak tiny cameras. I have one of the really tiny GoPros. It's only like this big. It's a little cube, and I can put it in my mouth. So, because they don't want you to take videos when you go on roller coasters or rides of any kind, they get really strict about it. There's actually, I went to the roller coaster in Cleveland, not this today, but last year, and I will again, because I like going to Cedar Point. But they have this new roller coaster, which is crazy, but you have to go through a metal detector before you get on it, because they want to make sure you aren't taking your phone to videotape or anything else that you could videotape. So you actually go through a metal detector. I've never seen anything like that. So if you have metal, they stop you because they don't want you carrying like a phone to take pictures or anything, because it's pretty high speed. It's actually probably the best roller coaster I've been on. It's really intense. I forget the name of it, but it was some crazy, crazy whack stuff. But that's the way it works. So now let's see. I can do this then, and you should be able to see this. I can go, okay, so this is something fun I did with a tiny ass camera. So I snuck the camera in my mouth, and then I was able to hold it and videotape myself in this crazy ass water slide. So that was most enjoyable. It was rather silly that I got to do that. But there you go. I made a video. I edited it because I had to take, obviously, two different angles, so I did it a couple times. So there was me going, from when you could see me and then not see me, I had to turn it. But I figured it out. Yes. I'm just reading the comments. The Idea Guy. Yep, from 2002 also starred George Clooney and Julia Roberts. The Worst Side video was cool. What's the camera look like? Well, I can get it. Hold on. I'm going to step out of frame. I'm going to put the big camera on. I'll put the big room camera. I'm going to step out of frame for 1 second, and I'm going to grab it because it's over here in my pile of crap, I believe. It is... So here it is. Look at this. This is an actual GoPro. That. So this little cube is the camera. So it's tiny. You can see it just fits in my hand. So you can hide it and conceal it really easily. But it's a GoPro and it has the same features, just rechargeable. It takes a little micro SD. So very cool. It's just super stealthy for doing things like that. So I will definitely use this again. I don't know if they make these anymore. This is I've had for a couple of years, but it's definitely a cool little thing. See, GoPro, tiny little GoPro. So, quite the little neat gizmo. I love gadgets and gizmos. If Lowe's was what would be my addiction, Amazon is my downfall, because I can just, Lowe's I can physically walk through. Amazon, you can go down these rabbit holes and suggest this, and I've done that way too many times. I spent way too much money buying things that I absolutely have to have. Hence why I'm surrounded by stuff everywhere. Why buy one when you can buy two? That's what I always say when it comes to tools. Why buy one when you can buy two? Including, I don't know, generators, whole house generators, and other ridiculous things of that nature. So yes, I definitely believe that if you have one, you can have two. So there's two of everything around me. I've got two sets of DeWalt power tools. I don't even know where to start. There's so much stuff. But that's because I have to do things. So this week is ComFest, starting on Friday. So if you're in Columbus, Community Festival, and if you don't know about it, it is the 51st annual Community Festival. It's been going on since, like Woodstock. A bunch of hippies went to Woodstock, came back, and then they decided to do it here in Columbus. It started in someone's backyard, eventually moved to a place on the short north that was before it was developed, and it was this pit with prostitutes and just a bad part of the city, to now in beautiful Goodale Park. And they've got a main stage, and they've got a gazebo stage, and they've got a solar stage, and all these things. And I forget how many bands played, but it's a lot, because there's 4 stages, and the bands start Friday at noon and go till 11, and then Saturday noon to 11, and Sunday, so 30, 40 bands, something like that. And thousands of people come. There's vendors and lots of craft people. So if you need a tie-dye, get your tie-dye. That's definitely a place to get your tie-dye from one of the vendors that's coming up from Athens or whatever. Lots of good, cool, groovy stuff, because it's definitely a little bit on the hippie side. So it's definitely more chill, hippie style festival. And the bands are eclectic, but there's everything. So there's jazz, and there's soul, and there's R&B, and there's rock, and there's alternative, and there's blues, and maybe a little hip hop even. So it's fun. It's definitely a good time. I will be the MC. I don't know the exact time I'm MCing. I just know that I think I'm closing main stage on Friday night, maybe. Now, I moved up to that by being a volunteer. Now, I volunteer for, my first real volunteering was when I grew up in New Jersey. My dad was a big advocate for doing things that were selfless. Doing things for others. My dad was a blue-collar guy. First in his family went to college. He came from very humble beginnings, and he was he caddied to pay his way through school. went to college in Massachusetts, played football, was in the Navy, was an officer, went to grad school in New York City, became a municipal engineer, was a city manager. So he definitely was a very kind of guy. My dad was an interesting character. Like I said, the story of me falling off my bicycle and dislocating my shoulder, if I hadn't told you that one, maybe I did, while bleeding in the street with my friends like laughing or whatever. At that part I don't remember. I still have a scar on my wrist to this day. Oh, that's from that burn I got. Ugh. But I still have a scar there. But riding the Schwinn Stingray with the chopper front forks on it that came off when I went over a ramp and landed and dislocated my shoulder, standing up, probably crying. And, I was like a 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid, and just like, my shoulder's literally like hanging down here. Dad, would come home every day at like 5:30. He'd change out of his suit and tie. He'd fluff the New York Times and drink a martini. Sitting at the front window, he saw me crash, puts the paper down, comes outside, walks up, just kind of stands me up. He's like, grabs me and goes, just pops it right back in, kind of goes like, go back and play. That was my dad. My dad. So I kind of grew up that way with a very feral childhood. We would be what you would call these days wayward children, latchkey kids. We had no rules growing up. It was, okay, get out of the house in the morning and come back at night. Where we went was a mystery to this day. But, we spent a lot of days in New York City because we could jump on a train with the commuters because we were close to the commuter train. So we would just jump on the commuter train, head into the city, and we'd be in New York City all day. Young guys just unsupervised in New York City, do whatever the heck we wanted. Go hang out at Washington Square Park, go walk around 42nd Street when it was really bad. I mean, if you go back and look what the 70s were, it was, wow, crazy. Go to the Bronx, go to Brooklyn, just do whatever. And then get home and be like, what do you guys do today? Nothing. Just hung around. But again, that was, this very feral, growing up. Like I didn't have, a lot of my friends had G.I. Joes, okay? I did not have G.I. Joes because those were dolls, all right? And my dad, that was not the way to, no way. You do not play with dolls, okay? You're a boy child. Boy children do not get dolls. So I did not have G.I. Joes. I had motorcycles. We had motorcycles, so we got to go ride, motorcycles and crash those things and ride them on the streets and get chased by the cops. That was okay. All right. Don't get me wrong. That was fine. What do you take? Nothing. But again, that was, that's how that works. Again, growing up in a very different world. But he was a big advocate for volunteering. And he definitely had a very interesting way. I talked to someone today, their dad was a pilot in the Navy and still flies gliders now. And I thought back to a time that I actually did a glider once in West Virginia. So when we went on vacation when I was growing up, from when I can remember actually, all the vacations we did, we never stayed at hotels, ever. And we went all up and down the eastern seaboard from Maine to Florida, but we didn't stay at hotels in the summertime, ever. We stayed at colleges because my dad being, and again, thrifty, very smart, but he always kind of just did it the way he wanted to do it. We would stay in dorms because they were basically like a big hotel. They had meal plans. And they had students that were there in the summertime, and they were centrally located in big cities or near attractions. So we would go and stay in the dorms. So we'd have a dorm room, and then you go to the meals. You would get them at the Commons, and then at night, I played pool with college kids in pool rooms and whatever else growing up. And then during the day, we were like spokes on a wheel. We'd go to like day adventures. So I remember we went to like Davis and Elkins, West Virginia, and that was really cool. But that's where we flew in a glider. We also flew with a guy. Now this guy was like a World War II veteran pilot. And he had an old Cessna. Now there was no instruments in this Cessna, okay? There was none. I am telling you, like everything was like ripped out or dangling, and he just flew it by feel. And my dad thought that'd be a good idea. Hey, let's go. That sounds great. So we get in there, and he's got like a bronze star and like a Purple Heart and like a letter of accommodation from like President Reagan or something. I forget who it was, but he had something. And, you know, we jump in the plane and we just take off and fly over, you know, rivers and mountains and streams and wherever out in rural West Virginia. And, you know, again, no instrumentation, no like, I'm going to take off now. No, we just took off out from this, you know, cornfield, and then we just landed. And that was an adventure. But I mean, again, you couldn't do stuff like that. It just was just, there you go. Like we went whitewater rafting and tubing down creeks that, you know, they weren't guided. This wasn't like, oh, here's your guide. No, it's like, okay, let's go down this river. Seems safe enough. But the thing was, you know, we saw this, like always, they had it real, like, because again, my dad was an engineer, so everything was planned. So there was all these great adventures, like, you know, in Rhode Island, we went fishing. I remember I caught a little shark I caught when we were there. But there was, I remember that I had caught a bunch of sinkers, lead weights. I mean, a lot of them, like hundreds and hundreds of lead weights. And eventually I brought them home with me. I melted them, and I still have in my garage, like, probably maybe 100 pounds of lead in ingots, because I found a little mold. So we melted them in tin cans in the fireplace and poured them into ingots. So I've got these little bricks of lead. I've had them forever. I've kept them with me because it's just one of those things that was just this really fond memory. My dad passed away some years ago, and he would wear it is the shark story in the 50th anniversary of Jaws. I was going to get there because we did actually go. I did have that video. So if you want, I was going to show it, but I guess I can forward it to myself. I have this video. This was, hold on. It's right here. I'm going to send this to myself, and it'll go into my spam, but that's okay because then I know where to find it. And let's see if I can do this quickly. But yes, I was going to bring that up because this is one of the ones I wanted to send to myself. I didn't get to do it before, but we'll see if I can just get it now. Damn it, camera. Again with the camera. If you know how to use this thing better than I do, please tell me, because that's just becoming so annoying about why that does that. So the camera, what I was going to do was find this email, because it is the 50th anniversary of Jaws, and I did want to, oh wow, it sent it right away. Okay, so this one, crutch, sorry. This one, download. All right, loading. Video, done. Not that one. No, not that one. Let's see, this one here. Come on, I can do this. No, that's the wrong one. Maybe it's going to take a second because that's a little bit bigger a file. But it definitely, it's very Jaws related. So let's see. Is this one it? Maybe, let's see. Download this one. Yes, I think this is it. Maybe. Yes, okay, so very Jaws related. Here we go. I don't know if there's audio. I tried to make sure there's audio for all these. Oh, no audio. All right, well, I'll work on with the audience. Look, it's Jaws! It's totally Jaws. Who knew? That was from the Universal Studios. Or actually the Warner Brothers lot, I don't know. It was when I went out to California for one of the junkets. We got to go on the private tour. So that's why instead of just going with everybody, you got to sit there and go to the tram car without the people. And got to see the Jaws thing and got to see the subway that collapses underwater, and it's crazy. They've got a cool special effects stuff you can go on. See all the cars from all the movies parked out there, like all these like different stunt cars and kit cars from the movie series. But yes, I knew I had a Jaws thing because, right, I know it was the 50th anniversary of Jaws. And it's summer. Summer, the official start of summer was yesterday. It was also Seashell Day, Hike with a Geek Day. Now, I could have hiked with a geek today because Tyler, who is a Stephen He fan, and who in fact was like, are you the driver? Geek. But that's okay. He seemed like a very, very nice geek. But that's, you know, the way it is. Very intellectual. I believe he's an attorney, very smart attorney. Works for a very big law firm, corporate law, protecting, you know, the horrible companies. So I think that's one of those disenfranchising things. I'm going to save the world, and you get the job, and the job is that actually that company that you really don't think, well, we're the defendants for it. So get them out of trouble. Which isn't that great. You don't want it. That's just terrible. They have to do that. But yes, that was Jaws. So Jaws was the video for that. One of the things I did get to adventure to where they filmed that, which was a very quaint little town, and it was very neat and very cool. That was fun. And then I went to Provincetown, which is like the very, very end. If you ever look at the map of Massachusetts, it's got that little teeny hook at the end. It takes you out to like the middle of nowhere. That's Provincetown. I went there in the off season because I went to a wedding. So I drove all the way literally to the edge of the coast. And you get there, and the first thing you're met with when you get to the beach is sharks in water. Like giant signs like, do not swim in this water. There are sharks. Sharks have been sighted, and these are the dates. I was like, oh yeah, that's now. So I went about ankle deep, but I was definitely like, okay, I do not want to get eaten by a shark. Because there was some people on the beach, but nobody was going in the water. So I was like, yeah, this seems like this would be definitely a bad thing to do. With sharks in the water, no lifeguards, no means of not getting eaten. That was the bad thing. I wish see, this is why I need more time so I can load pictures and preview these things and go, look, here's this. And I can put it over my shoulder because I figured out how to do that. I can go do that and say, look, this is the video of this. And then I can start the video, and then I can do this, and you can be watching it, and I can go like that, and then you can see it. See how that works? Wouldn't that be nice if I had planned that a little better? Because then you'd get to watch this, and there'd be audio. You'd hear the sparking and the things, and you'd hear the jaws, and look, you'd see the giant shark again. I mean, right, that is the giant shark. See? Giant shark. Giant shark. Ah! Jaws. 50th anniversary of Jaws. Crazy. Okay, what else? Anything else exciting today? My drive back from Cleveland was uneventful. I drove really fast. I mean, not faster than traffic, but you know, nobody seems to do the speed limit anymore, which is 70. So I was definitely doing 70. Just saying. That was what I was doing. But Nelsonville Music Festival is this weekend, so I did not get to go to Nelsonville this year. Actually, I have only been to Nelsonville Music Festival once, and that was many, many years ago. again, because Nelsonville's a lot of primitive camping, and I don't want to sound like a horrible human being, but wow, I'm way too jaded and spoiled for primitive camping. At a music festival, I couldn't do it. I could not just be dirty in the camping grounds for 3 days and not shower. I mean, I could. I mean, I would, but I just choose not to. How's that? I choose not to. It just seems that would be something that would be wonderful, but I just choose not to. I got spoiled. You go to Lollapalooza, you go to Vegas, you go to some of these other festivals, and, you know, there's hotels. You get to go to a hotel after your day is done and sleep in a bed, not a bathtub. Whitewater rafting, you know, 12 of us in one room. You sleep in the bathtub or on the floor, you know, or out by a campfire. But that's whitewater rafting. That's one day. You're already soaking wet, and usually you just are so tired you just pass out where you stand. And whitewater rafting, if you haven't gone, is quite the adventure. Mogul Mike, who was a ski club officer alongside me as well, is still a guide to this day, years later. He goes down to the river and still guides. So if you ever go down to, I don't know which one of the West Virginia things, always ask if there's Mogul Mike. Is Mogul Mike working? Oh, he doesn't work for this company. Okay. Oh, yeah, he's that guy. Mogul Mike. He's a good cat. Michigan fan, though. So if you have a problem with Michigan fans, then, you know, Mogul Mike will definitely have at it with you. He went to Ohio State, but he's a Michigan fan, so I don't know where that came from. That's neither here nor there, I guess. I'm not from Ohio originally either, so I'm not a fanatical Buckeye. I'm not someone that, you know, lives or dies by that because of the color of the opposing team. Yes, I understand the rivalry, but that's not. I don't have any soul-crushing hate for that team because I didn't get that when I was a child, so it wasn't ingrained into me. I'm a Giants fan. That's what was ingrained into me, that I had to be a Giants fan. Because again, my dad was a Giants fan. So that's what you did. You did what your dad did. He was a Giants fan. I was a Giants fan. So, okay. I went to Giants Stadium many times with Senator Frank Xavier McDermott. Senator Frank was an interesting guy. I've never decided to Google him as an adult. I don't know why. Probably never will, but I do remember Frank Xavier McDermott. I think he got me out of trouble once. My dad definitely got me out of trouble with the city attorney a couple of times. And not even in my own, like not in the city that he was the city attorney in. Like, you know, I'm the city attorney, so maybe a little courtesy for the kid kind of thing. Because I may have had a rough and tumble youth. Definitely not the pristine raising that a lot of kids may have had. Not a bad child, but we were feral. We were definitely feral children. So we were roaming the streets at all hours of the day and night. Pool hopping was a big thing in the summertime. I don't know if you ever did pool hopping. Pool hopping is one of those things that it was hot and we didn't own a swimming pool and you wanted to swim. So you stealthily would sneak into the backyards at night and slip into someone's pool and swim. And then if the lights got turned on and someone yelled, you got in the pool and you ran. And then we laughed and ran and you go find another pool. But yes, pool hopping was a big thing growing up. I'm sure that's, you know, nowadays would be frowned on as breaking and entering and trespassing and everything else, but that was just harmless childhood mischief, I believe, as it was referred to. Childhood mischief. It was not intended to be destructive. We were just wanting to swim and cool off because it was hot. You know, so what do? You use somebody else's pool hopping. And I've done some rather amazing pool hopping incidents. You know, running from the people yelling at us. I think we had a sort of a regular route that we would go to that encompassed about a half mile or so radius of people's pools, because they had low fences, 4-foot fence. You're just over the fence. You just kind of slip into the water and you just swim quietly. You don't make a lot of noise, so a lot of times you can get in and get out without any issues. Nobody has to be the wiser. It's just when that random person, one of the people from the group decides to do the cannonball and make a giant splash, and of course, then the lights go on, the dogs bark, and hey, what are you doing at my pool? Jumping over the fence, running through the yards, trying not to trip over kids' toys. My battery died, so we'll try this mic. I don't know if that's let's see if I got any stuff there. I can see it looks like it's not very loud. Does that work in there? Can we see it? Let me see if I can adjust this up a little bit. I think that works now. Maybe a little button. There's an up button. I think there's an up button. There we go. Is that better? Better audio? I see it looks like it's a little better now. Okay. I see that. I see it on the mic thing. All right. The battery died. You know what? It was on my list of things to do today. Pick up AA batteries. Guess what I didn't do, apparently? Pick up AA batteries. See, that's why I need a secret producer to help me with these things, to keep me honest. Secret producer. So, all right. Technical difficulties aside, yes, pool hopping was a thing. That was definitely a summertime thing. We had a lot of school programs where the schools would have these summertime programs where you could go play like street hockey and stuff in the schools, and they'd let us into the gym so you could do play like crab soccer, where you had these little like skate, like little pieces of wood with 4 wheels on it. You'd like sit and do like crab soccer, and it's a giant, like this big of a ball that you kick around as you skated around the gymnasium, because it was hot and they let us cool down in there in the summertime. I lived right next to an elementary school, so that was sort of our stomping ground, that we could go, and it had all the jungle gym games and slides and everything, so that's where we would always hang out at night and cause trouble as miscreant youths that we were. So that's where, like, when we would have big parties, all the neighborhood kids would party. We partied in the woods, and the woods was at the school because it was public, but it was big, sort of hidden, and there was a big open area, and it was easy escape routes. So when the police inevitably would show up, we could scatter in the many directions so that no one was ever caught by said police. But that was a common occurrence. I grew up with a lot of neighbors that were all similar in age to myself. So next door, across the street, down the street, a block away. So many people of the similar age. So there was a gang of us, at least a dozen. When we would go into the city, we would, there was always like 10 or 12 of us. And so we always had a lot of people just hanging out. And my house and that next door neighbor's house were sort of the central location of the hangout a lot of times. The front yard, the backyard, because I had a big, huge, like an acre of dense woods. My dad did not cut the woods down, where a lot of the neighbors cut the woods completely down and had a big grassy backyard. Ours was a very dense wood, so we, rode motorcycles on our bicycles back there and built forts and cut down trees and did all things that boys did when they were left to their own devices in the summertime and the wintertime and everything else, because again, we would be what we would consider feral children. Feral children. I'll have to find some. There's a somewhere around here. I know it's here, but there's a photograph of me that somebody turned into a all access pass. But it was a picture that someone sent me from when I was clearly younger and in like high school, maybe, I'm assuming. And it's it may give you an idea of what kind of a misspent youth I had. It's here somewhere, I know it is, but I'm not going to find it right now. I will find it another time, and I will share it with you, and you will get the feeling of what my misspent youth was, and how I became this person that I am today, this Randsanity person. So yeah, I don't know where it is. That's unfortunate, but it's yeah. You'll see it and be like, oh, okay, that explains everything. Damn it! See, when I come up with the thinking about things, because again, my brain only kind of works in this non-linear way, and then when I want to find it, I don't know where it is, but the minute I hang up, it'll be like, oh, there it is. Nope. Anyway. Right. Is this your card? Is this your card? All right, I'm going to put it onto the... Let me let you see the big room for 1 second, and I'm going to look one last place. Just over here. I'm in the distance. Nope, not hanging where I thought it was. I thought it was hanging on the door. It's probably in a different stack somewhere else. So, I'll find it. I just don't know where it is. I could have sworn it was hanging here with all this other stuff. Anyway, don't forget, like these videos. I see 3 people, 3 likes. Thank you. Appreciate you very much for liking it. This, remember, like it's up. Oh, wrong one. This one. I changed the numbers. I need to number the cameras. I need to put a little number above the camera so I can say, that is camera 3 instead of camera 2. That's camera 2, because this is now camera 1, and that's camera 4. Anyway, this one, like and subscribe to that, okay? Because again, I'm going to eventually move over there. I'm going to start posting videos there. I might put the Jaws one over there. I might put the water slide one over there. I have a bunch of underwater ones because the GoPro. I have some roller coaster ones too because of the little GoPro. Which again, this thing's super, super stealthy for being able to take play. You can't take videos. Don't have a video camera. Yes, I do. I do have a video camera. Let's see. I'll see what the airways hold for me for Quinn Foster. I'm doing my first road trip to New Jersey, Seattle, taking my e-boards to shred. Okay, wow, look at that. New Jersey. Where in New Jersey are you going to, Quinn Foster? New Jersey to Seattle. Where in New Jersey from and to Seattle? That's a road trip. I did the opposite direction. So that will be fun. I would definitely do that. That would be a nice road trip. Jersey to Seattle. So, well, you have to go all the way to the ocean then, because you need to touch the ocean on the East Coast. That way you can touch the ocean on the West Coast. Because otherwise, you didn't really do it. Have to touch the ocean. All right. So I am going to depart and go play with my small dog because Desi, the small dog, was neglected because, you know, I wasn't here to play with a small dog. And Desi, I'm actually in Harrisburg, PA right now. I'm going the north route. I did swim in the ocean once, so we good. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Swimming in the ocean is good. I will try and do that again myself soon. Hopefully this summer, do some ocean swimming. And I will send videos. I have lots of ocean videos. Maybe I'll make that my opening theme, some ocean videos from all sorts of different oceans, Pacific, Atlantic. I don't know, maybe a third one, I'm not sure. Possibly. Caribbean, but that's kind of the Atlantic Ocean, isn't it? The Caribbean Ocean is Caribbean Sea, Atlantic Ocean. I don't know. All right, friends, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching and indulging me and letting me just get this stuff out of my brain because it just needs to leave. I need to make room for other stuff, and this just clogs it up. Tomorrow is Sunday, the beginning of a new week or the end of the old week. I'm not sure which you consider it. Because it's the weekend. So when does the week actually end? Does it end Saturday? Does it end Sunday? When's the new week begin? In radio, we had a broadcast calendar. So the week was Monday through Sunday. So it always was this weird block of things. So I look at calendars weird because they don't start on Mondays. Broadcast calendar. It's a radio thing and a TV thing and a media thing, a media buyer thing. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day and a good Sunday. Do something Sunday for yourself. I did no good deed today that I can think of. I did not cut anybody off on the highway today, so I will take that as a good deed. Because there was definitely opportunities to do that. So I was a polite driver when I was driving, a lot of right lane driving because everyone's going slow in the left lane and there's literally no cars in the right lane. What the hell, people? But I did not cut anybody off. So that'll be my good deed for the day, not cutting anybody off. So at least I feel like I've kept something to that way, that I didn't do that. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow will be Sunday, and I will try and work at least an hour of editing, and maybe I'll see if I can have some more fun videos in the background. We can have some background adventures, and we can do more of this stuff, and we can see more things, and we can maybe find some more adventures of stuff that I've done, including explosions and water slides and things, just the random stuff, like going on a water slide one day just because I could and I was dressed. Have a great night. As always, we're going to fade to black. Be well.